A non-political group known as Safe Imo is calling on all Nigerians to vote credible candidates, irrespective of party affiliations, to entrench good governance. The group, while endorsing the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi in Owerri, the Imo State capital, also endorsed other candidates across political parties. Prince Uba has more.
According to the timetable of Independent National Electoral Commission, Nigeria will, on the 25th February, elect a president that will take over from President Muhammadu Buhari.
We want to imbue in the mindset of the electorate.
Different groups have been sensitizing the electorate to look beyond party in electing the next crop of leaders.
Obey the national constitution.
The latest is Safe Imo Group, who, despite supporting the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, moved further to throw their weight behind candidates of other political parties, contesting various positions in Imo State.
Political party has failed Nigeria and Nigerians. But luckily for us, in PDP, in APC, in Labour Party, we have good candidates. Go and vote the good candidates wherever they are for Oluzon, otherwise Imo West Central District. We endorse Senator Citizen as OFR of the APC, Imo East Central District. We endorse Prince Alex Mbata of APC. Imo North will endorse a young man of the Labour Party, Barrister Ifeanyi Arume Jr.
Some candidates saw the event as a moral booster in their electioneering campaign and commended the group from being fair in their selection process.
When people endorse you, that means you're doing well. So it has encouraged me to work harder, go out there, talk to the voters the more, and make sure I win the election.
This parliamentary district has sent for us that have led us to this point, that will build on them, to use it to serve members of the Igbo community and humanity at large.
In spite of the endorsement, the onus lies in the hands of the electorate to decide who governs them in the coming days. Prince Oba, TVC News, Owerri.
The presidential candidate of the Action Alliance, Solomon David Okanigboa, says he will solve the nation's debt burdens by recovering funds from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and Independent Corrupt Practices and other related offenses commission if elected next president. Mr. Okanigboa says 50% proceeds from the excess crude oil will also be plowed in to tackle the nation's debt burdens and promised to improve on the welfare and equipment of the military to boost their morale in the fight against insurgency.
We have enough sun in the north. We have wind in the south. So we can balance up. We have, I was watching a documentary. In a country, there are turbines on highways, whereby the wind from the cars, moving vehicles, turn the turbine to generate electricity. We can implement that here. Then we have things like floating wind energy, seashore wind energy, like that. So we should not depend so much on hydro. We can complement with solar and wind energy. Then for security, in the situation of things in the country and even the world at large, things are not moving fine.
And away from politics to other stories now, the annual Use Festival in Okiagbe, Akoko, in Akoko Northwest local government area of Ondo State has started with a call on government to pay more attention to tourism potential of various communities as an alternative source of income. The festival lived up to its usual glamour as indigents participated in the annual show. Ayodiji Morade reports.
Use is one of the many festivals celebrated annually in Ogosi, Afa, Okiagbe, Akoko in Akoko Northwest local government area of Ondo State, southwest Nigeria. The festival, which ushers in other annual festivals in the community, promotes the rich cultural heritage of the people with specific reference to the way of life of their forefathers. Celebrated every February, This year's event was not devoid of the usual fanfare, with more active involvement of sons and daughters of the community from within and outside the country. They engage in traditional dances and songs extolling the virtues of their ancestors. The traditional chief of the community described the festival as special, urging the state government to give special attention to development of culture and tourism potential of different communities.
The area, I think, is government to be able to support the community that are willing to sustain the social heritage of their community. Government should be able to assist and encourage. So with this, the international investors, the tourists can come and witness.
The chairman of the planning committee, Akinwumi Bada, and others speak more on the essence of the festival.
We are culture, and we are culture-loving people. We come home, all our children from far and near, they are here. They are home for this festival, and it's going to take place for 9 days. Appealing to them to come home, join hands with us, and make this festival great.
A festival is a festival that bring all sons and daughters of Ogun together. It's a festival of reunion.
A national event, as we are progressing it and the planning is on, that we could bring it to the national stage so that it can be recognized nationally.
Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News, Okiagbe.
Let's tell you that the back and forth over the scarcity of redesigned Naira notes seems to be far from over at the moment. Now, at least 5 states have sued the federal government over the deadline for 3 old Naira notes. The Ekiti State Government has now applied to be joined as co-plaintiff in a suit against the federal government at the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the Naira redesign policy and the deadline issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the swap of old notes for new ones. The Ekiti State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dayo Akpata Hassan, filed the application for joinder at the Supreme Court seeking 3 reliefs. The 3 reliefs have been sought by the Attorney General of Ekiti State, a leave of this honorable court to join the applicants as a co-plaintiff in this suit. Another of this court joining Attorney General of Ekiti State as a co-plaintiff in this suit, and for such order or further order that is this honorable court may seem fit to make in this circumstance of this suit. And also, the Nigerian Governors Forum says the country runs the risk of a self-induced recession if the central bank and the federal government fail to comply with the Supreme Court ruling. The state executives say, considering the impact on a sizable number in the informal sector across the country, they fear the number of new banknotes printed by the CBN implies it underestimates the economy's actual cash needs. They also say the inability to use the new notes has had far-reaching economic effects leading to Naira black market, severe food inflation, variable commodities prices. The governors, while expressing sympathy and support with Nigerians who are experiencing great difficulties as a result of the policy, said they are determined to employ all legitimate channels to ease the situation. And the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to allow the old and new Naira notes coexist for the next 12 months as part of measures to end the hardship faced by many Nigerians. In a statement signed by the APC flag bearer, he advised the Apex Bank to implement the recommendation by the Council of State to print more notes or allow the old and new notes to circulate. A part of the statement reads, quote, "To bring immediate relief to our people, we urge the Central Bank to consider the following. The CBN should announce that the old and new Naira notes will coexist as legal tender for the next 12 months to follow examples of countries that have successfully implemented similar monetary policy. We advise the immediate suspension of associated charges on online transactions and bank transfers and payments via POS until the current crisis is fully resolved. Bring in fintech companies with capabilities into currency swap program for the next 90 days to allow to help decongest banking halls and ATM points." End quotes. And still on the Naira crisis, the Kano State Government has ordered the closure of supermarkets for rejecting old Naira notes from customers. Chairperson of the state's Consumer Protection Council, Baffa Agudi, says legal action will be taken against the supermarket. Mr. Agudi reminded other marketers in Kano that the old Naira notes remain a legal tender, warning that any shop caught rejecting them will be dealt with. Meanwhile, management of the supermarket, in a letter to Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, apologized for his action and pleaded for the reopening of his business premises. The state had on Thursday sued the federal government over the Naira redesign policy.